Nta the Dynamic Station, another program. This is a special program here, and it is centered around the governorship election that will be taking place in Ondo State in the next few days. And so we are having issues and conversations around this particular election. My name is Ondo everyone is encouraged to your host this afternoon. Here with me in the studio in Pastor House, I have about four gentlemen and we'll be talking, we'll be bringing up issues surrounding this discussion. And we hope that at the end of the day, we'll be informed and well educated and go about make your informed decision as far as the governorship election is concerned. Let me just quickly introduce my guest. I have with me very, sitting very close to me, Dr. Akure, who is the Executive Director of Center for Media and Society. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mother. It's my pleasure to be here again.
Let me now go to the only man in uniform. He's the PRO, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps here in Ondo State, DSD Daniel Aidadu.
Thank you very much, man. It's a pleasure to be on here to discuss security.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, man.
I'm sitting very close to you is Mr. Larry Agbo, that the Executive Director of National Press Center. The friend of the house, you're welcome.
Thank you. Good to be back.
And I have with me the only peacemaker in this studio. He is the Program Manager, Justice Development and Peacemaker Center, Mr. Festus.
Thank you very much for having me. Good afternoon.
So that just start, let us start quickly with, we'll start the conversation, but before we go into that, we have a jingle I would like to play and allow you to speak. Please, we'll be back very shortly.
Ondo State, where the rays of possibility shine brightest, place in the southwest, where nature's bounty meets human ingenuity, where every effort contributes to a legacy of growth. In this state, the richness of the past weaves seamlessly with the promise of tomorrow, and every voice resonates with the potential to shape a brighter future. On Saturday, 16th November 2024, it brings more than just a new day. It ushers in a pivotal moment for the people of Ondo State. A day when you, the citizens, have the power to choose the next democratic governor of our cherished state. This is more than an election. It's a call to action, a reminder that democracy flourishes through your participation. Your voice, your vote is the heartbeat of this process. Voting is not just a right, it's a civic duty enshrined. It is the very essence of a democratic culture, shaping a future and affirming our collective will. To vote is to claim your birthright, and to refuse to sell it is to honor your heritage. In this act, you transform from being a spectator to an active participant in the democratic process. Let's work together with all stakeholders, the electoral management body, security agencies, and the media to ensure a free, fair, and peaceful election. Democracy is not just about casting a vote, that vote, making sure it counts. Now, let's rise above it, participating in the spirit of unity and peace. Are you 18 years old and above with a valid voter's card? Then rise, participate, and vote. Be part of history. For in Ondo State, on November 16, 2024, democracy has the power to create change, and that change begins with you. Ondo State, the Sunshine State. Let your voice be heard. Vote.
This message is brought to you by Center for Media and Society, CEMESO, and funded by the European Union.
Thank you so very much for staying with us. We're starting the conversation by I want to just ask, you've been in town, you've been for what have you been in town for a few days? What is the mood like now? I'm not interrupting anybody in particular. I want this to be a conversation. So what is the mood like? Are the people ready for the election? The parties, are they ready? What is your take on this?
Well, the sense I get is that stakeholders in general are ready, by which I mean that, for example, citizens are ready. I can see the mood in town. Everywhere I go, in the city of Akure, for example, people talk about the election. Saturday, how things are going to happen. People are adjusting their own logics for the day to avoid, because it will be a no movement day. People will be allowed just to move into police centers and back to their homes in most cases, except those who are on essential duties. But we see the mood, everywhere. People talk about the elections, how things are going to go. People are unsure how things will play out in terms of where victory will swing to. But people are looking forward to this experience on Saturday. I also get to see that citizens in general, even stakeholder groups. You can see all over town, civil society organizations, observers, arriving in town. You can see that in various centers, shopping places, hospitality locations, and all of that, arriving and getting ready, getting into town, for their own engagements and readiness for that. Security agencies, you can see, I have seen a number of points in town, where I see some spots that show that the security agencies are getting ready, to man certain positions on Saturday. So I get to see readiness. I see INEC, for example, also being busy, engaging stakeholders in many locations, continuing voter education, so that people will turn out in large numbers to participate on that day. These are some of the things that happen.
Okay. NSCDC, how prepared are you?
Yeah, thank you very much. The focus right now is on Ondo State. The Nigerian, the space in Nigeria is focused on Ondo State. So Ondo State is the in thing now as far as Nigerian is concerned. So everybody is looking up to Ondo State. And so we cannot, we can't fail the people. So the security agencies, we are on top of our game. And we've been having series of meetings, especially the interagency consultative committee in charge of election security that comprises all the sister agencies. The Nigerian police is the lead agency when it comes to election matters. So other security agencies were just supporting that very well. So we've had series of meetings before the peak of the election process, meeting once in a month. But now that the election is just some few days, the meeting has been coming up regularly. So we'll be meeting. We've done security assessments. We know the hotspots. We know where to put our men. All these things has been done. We've done the assessment. So I can assure the people of Ondo State that this week they can be rest assured it's going to be violent free.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Arubindade, I know you've had engagement.
Yes.
With people. Does it sound to you that the electorates, especially, do you think they are ready to come out?
Yeah, I think for a reasonable number, they are saying that they will come out to vote. Even some of the taxi drivers taking us. The guy who brought me here, I asked him, he said, yes, he's ready. We'll go out and vote for candidates. We were on a radio program earlier in the day, and at least two of the callers said they will go out to vote, but they want assurance that after voting, that they will conduct themselves peacefully, and that they want assurance that after voting, there will be no disruption at the collation center, the votes will count. Unfortunately, the INEC and assistant director with INEC was with us, and they gave assurance. And we also said that we want the key stakeholders to be accountable for all these promises they are making. So even as we have a good friend here, we are hopeful that these things would materialize. For example, when we were on that program, somebody called and said somewhere in is it Ondo West or so?
West.
would even mention the word Ward 7 that some people are threatening others not to come out. We want the security agents to take note of this kind of things so that to be part of their arrangement. Well, even at INEC headquarters, you could really see it was a beehive of activities yesterday evening. So many vehicles, staff moving here and there. And we asked them, we said, look, all these vehicles, we hope that you have fuel in them. And they said, yes, of course. I said, well, we have to be sure that they're all well fuel, and the fuel that will take them to wherever and bring them back. They said, oh, that is being done. Because all these little things matter. We don't want at the last minute something would happen. No, it's because of fuel. So we are hopeful that if INEC people are hearing us, these are the logistics they need to pay attention to. Like Dr. Akingbulu said, so many observer groups are in town having media briefings here and there. And we have been using the opportunity to also remind our own colleagues that we should not forget our responsibility. Maybe one area we want to emphasize today is the area of being conflict sensitive. It is the nature of politicians to treat accusations and allegations in order to win sympathy or get votes. But we have to be careful how we report. Somebody may really be agitated and use certain words. We are not bound to use that same words if we suspect that those words may cause disaffection. So we need to be conflict sensitive and generally be more professional. That's where we are now.
Okay. JDP,
MC.
Is there anything you have put in the measures put in place or programs? Maybe you can engage the lecturers if you have a program that you let us into some of the engagements.
All right. Thank you very much. Actually, our engagement started here like 3 months ago. Situations wherein we trained campaign finance trackers actually to monitor campaign elections, campaign materials. So the engagement has been on for the past 3 months here in the state.
The campaign did not start until recently.
Exactly. That was actually part of our discovery. We discovered that campaign didn't start early. Literally, campaign according to the INEC campaign not to start like June in order to create windows for the 150 days for campaign. But part of our findings showed that its campaign started immediately after the Edo election.
What do you think is responsible for that?
Well, we may not say, but one of the things is probably political parties are actually saving costs for the sake of election day in form of vote buying, actually.
Yes.
So it could actually be because literally campaign ought to be 150 days. And we can say categorically that political gladiators have not actually been engaging electorates as it ought to be. Part of the campaigns we track was some of the time they campaign in many communities within a limited hour. Sometimes they just drove past many communities. There has never been a reasonable amount dedicated to have conversations with the electorate, which ought not to be, because that's the beauty of democracy. As a matter of fact, someone vying for a position should come out clear and say, this is my intention for vying for this position. We've not been saying that in the recent time, but it has always been like jamboree. Take, for instance, where we're coming here, a lot of groups singing, dancing. The mode in town is actually is said that no, people are actually ready for this election. It's once in 4 years, and what we are seeing now probably is we're going to witness same in the next 4 years. So we can say that political parties are also campaigning as a present. So part of the interventions that we have also done here, like a week ago, we engaged different stakeholders as regards the issue of vote buying, because the truth of the matter is we were here in 2020, and what we saw as regards vote buying, we don't want same to play out and come this Saturday. And that is why we are appealing to our people. They should not sell their vote. We have engaged a lot of stakeholders, political parties. In the program we organized, I think everybody actually spoke against vote buying, and it should be like that. And that is why we are using this opportunity to tell our people at home, there is no amount of money that worth our conscience. We shouldn't allow our conscience to be bought with peanuts, because our vote is our power. And that is why we need to go there come November 16 and vote for the candidate of our choice. The security operative, they have actually promised us that there's not going to be any intimidation, so there's nothing to be afraid of. people should go out and vote and not sell their votes.
You know, it's a common saying that out of every 12, there's always a Judas. You know, that's the normal thing.
Exactly.
Even though you have educated the people against the dangers of vote trading, either buying or selling, there are some people who still believe that that is what they are going out to do on Saturday. Somebody was telling me an experience that the Okada man that took him down there, he was engaging the guy, and the guy said, although the guy was wearing a PDP cap,
Okay.
but he said he's going to vote for the highest bidder. He's going to go for that bidder. That he's not ready to vote for anybody except the give him money. So in that case, NFCDC, what are the measures you put in place to ensure that people like that are actually arrested or prosecuted, or what do you do? How do you track them? Or let me say the punishment you intend to melt on such people.
Thank you very much. NSDC is not it's not a law court anyway, so we won't what we do is just like he has said, we are trying to talk to the electorate, also talk to the politicians to keep off from the polling units that day. What you do at the polling unit is to come and cast your vote. That is why you are there, and that is the only activity that will be allowed at the polling unit on Saturday. Any other activity outside that becomes a illegal activity. So, but over time, what we even discover is that people don't even trade and buy votes at the polling unit anymore. You know, they devise a means of going outside that perimeter. You know, the law gave us a particular what do I put it now?
Voting zone.
Yeah, there's a voting zone where you can where your activities. So once you go outside that 300 meters, then you are outside the perimeter. So you can start doing, you know. So, but what I'm saying is the security agencies will be on ground, and will ensure that vote buying does not take place within that perimeter. You know, so majorly now what we're saying is that we'll keep talking to our people. We'll keep talking to our people to dissuade them from buying or selling their vote, because if they are caught, they will be arrested and they will be prosecuted.
And that's what I want to hear.
Yes.
Because no matter how you the education you give them or the sensitization you give, some people are still very recalcitrant. You will still find them doing, because I'm a reporter on election day. I go out, and most times I'm like, what's this? Is even some of your men, they aid this act. They are the ones. It's an allegation anyway. But, you
can say I'm serious.
But these are things that we see, and even the Nigerian police, the officers, they give signs like you can pay. There's always a cashier at the back.
Allegation.
The allegation, yes, but they will just signal like, okay, has voted for. Even the voters, the electorate, once they vote, there's the way they do their ballot paper to show the officer that so the very this signal, they go back to collect their money and they move. These are things that we see.
Yes, see, the truth of the matter, let's be sincere with ourselves. The truth of the matter is the truth of the matter is that there are some things you can't arrest somebody for. There are some things you can't arrest somebody for. Take, for example, I voted and my ballot slip, I raised it up. It's not a crime. For me, raising up my ballot paper, it's not a crime.
Showing people.
It's not a crime for me to raise up my ballot paper. It's not a crime. But what we'll be saying is that where that cubicle will be placed, should be placed in a secluded place where somebody cannot interfere with it. And that is not the job of the security. That is the job of the polling officer, the polling INEC officer that is there. So if INEC in his own wisdom decides to bring the polling booths in the midst of everybody, where everybody will be able to see what you are, because they are in charge of that place, they will be able to tell us, oh, this person has violated the electoral law. Please arrest him. Oh, don't arrest him. He has not violated the electoral. So it is their duty. So what I'm saying is that let them arrange the cubicle in such a way that it is you and the ballot paper alone. But in a situation whereby you do it in such a way that the person is thumbprinting and everybody can see who the person is voting for, That is not the responsibility of the security agency.
Yeah,
That is
but
just the
but
truth.
actually against the electoral procedure for people to display their, and this has been part of the conversation, because even the when the candidates vote, the media want to capture it, and sometimes they will ask them to raise their ballot paper. It's not, because it's supposed to be
A secret ballot.
ballot. So the moment you begin to display it, raise it in any way, you're already violating the secrecy of that law. And I think this is a message you need to pass to your men, to be able to let voters know. And usually the INEC officials will have a briefing even before the voting starts to say these are the do's and don'ts. But we can use the opportunity to say that it is wrong for people to raise their ballot paper. Whoever you vote for, whichever party you vote for, is supposed to be between you and that ballot, not a third party. So we are hopeful that these are some of the things that you will factor into your own operational procedure.
Thank you, sir. So,
I get a sense that an organization like NSDC will be deploying to all the 18 local governments.
All the polling units.
Oh, all the
Polling units. All the polling units, we have an officer from the
at
NSCDC.
least one.
Definitely. Because we are deploying 6,000 personnel for this election, and we have 393 or 333 polling units in Ondo State.
So, meaning including the so-called hard to reach places like the riverine, the mountainous places.
Acquire boats.
Yes. We'll be deploying men to all the polling units.
At least two.
Men and women, or
At
everybody's
least
a
one.
man.
At least one.
Yes, one officer per polling unit.
Will you be having women among your officers who will be going to the field?
Of course,
Yes,
we don't have gender.
Just like the gentlemen of the
Yes.
press.
So we have them. You can be sure of that.
Okay. So let us talk about the media. The media is very, very important in the coverage of the election. So I want to ask, what ethical consideration or considerations should journalists keep in mind while reporting on sensitive election issues? Doctor.
Well, some of these ethical things are ethical issues that also affect the electorate. Affect voters.
So what should journalists keep in mind?
Yes, going into the election field, with a professional mind, that we're going to do balanced journalism, professional. That is with no mindset, that we want to see things, in any way, that shows bias. That's important. We want to see balance there. We want to see that the journalists tell the stories as they are, as they happen. We don't want a situation where any journalist will be compromised in any way. We want the journalists to ensure also, that their safety is very paramount. Indeed, part of what we'll be doing, going forward as we go to get into the election, is also interacting with our colleagues, to try and get real-time information about their safety on the ground and some other issues that might be playing out on the election field. Go there, do professional coverage, no compromises. We know what is possible, by political actors, the kinds of tricks, that they want to play. Journalists should be able to see clearly. As you say, they have to shine their eyes, to make sure that they don't fall into the traps, of journalists. Do coverage and allow the people, to make informed choices. All the content that will be broadcast or that will be published, we make sure, that there's balance. We shouldn't assume that any particular party or candidate is going to win and then begin, to tilt media content, towards any side. We should provide a level playing field, as we say, for all parties to have access. That is, give them voice until that day. I know that, for example, that for broadcast media, even for print, but broadcast mainly, there's a day of silence. That's on Friday, and even on election day, campaign materials will not happen at all, and even on election day. So they should also observe all of that.
Hours.
Yes, So we don't want a situation where regulatory bodies will begin to say that some stations didn't observe this period. No, we have gone beyond that level. We want our colleagues to observe that, and everything that we want to publish or broadcast should end on Thursday. And then we wait to see how things happen. And then, well, as the elections happen, stories on the elections, of course, how things are going out in a very transparent manner.
Thank you, sir. So for those joining us, this is the Nigerian Television Authority, Nta Akure, and we've been having this discussion on the Ondo governorship election that is slated for this Saturday, November 16th, 2024. We'll go on a break now to return shortly. Please just stay with us.
Ondo State, where the rays of possibility shine brightest, a place in the southwest, where nature's bounty meets human ingenuity, where every effort contributes to a legacy of growth. In this state, the richness of the past weaves seamlessly with the promise of tomorrow, and every voice resonates with the potential to shape a brighter future. As the dawn breaks on Saturday, 16th November 2024, it brings more than just a new day. It ushers in a pivotal moment for the people of Ondo State. A day when you, the citizens, have the power to choose the next democratic governor of our cherished state. This is more than an election. It's a call to action, a reminder that democracy flourishes through your participation. Your voice, your vote is the heartbeat of this process. Voting is not just a right, it's a civic duty enshrined in our Constitution. It is the very essence of a democratic culture, shaping our future and affirming our collective will. To vote is to claim your birthright, and to refuse to sell it is to honor your heritage. In this act, you transform from being a spectator to an active participant in the democratic process. Let's work together with all stakeholders, the electoral management body, security agencies, and the media to ensure a free, fair, and peaceful election. Democracy is not just about casting a vote, it's about protecting that vote, making sure it counts. Violence undermines the very principles of democracy. Let's rise above it, participating in the spirit of unity and peace. Are you 18 years old and above with a valid voter's card? Then rise, participate, and vote. Be part of history. For in Ondo State, on November 16, 2024, democracy has the power to create change, and that change begins with you. Ondo State, the Sunshine State. Let your voice be heard. Vote.
This message is brought to you by Center for Media and Society, CEMESO, and funded by the European Union.
Thank you for staying with us, and the program has been with the conversation surrounding the Ondo State governorship election scheduled for Saturday 16th, November 16th, 2024. And we've been talking about a lot of issues ranging from voter party, vote buying, security, and even freedom of the press in the electoral process. So I just want to ask now, we all know that we're in the era of cashless society. And
Cashless
most economy. So most times you get to the polling units and you're not seeing cash because people do transfer. So how do you intend to track these people?
Actually, it's not all forms of vote buying that can be tracked. Let me start an example. In one of the gubernatorial elections that we observed, they use code like this short code like maybe 1, 2, 3. So once you vote, they will give you that code. Once you dial that code, I don't know how the kind of technology they play. Once you dial the code, definitely your bank will be credited.
Wow.
The truth of the matter is not everything. This issue of vote buying is not only on the election day. There are some reports we got that some people, third party, they go to filling stations, buy the fuel, and have some people to go and load their tanks freely. any votes buying, the definition of votes buying is anything you use to induce voters.
Sure.
So voters inducements, and that is why not everything that can actually be bought, but at least sanctity to our electoral system. At least there should be discipline, so to say, at the polling unit. Because in the time past, we have seen it, as you said, they turn polling unit to market. They even negotiate that no, I will vote for so, I will need this, give me this. All these things, all this attitude is not actually promoting the sanctity of our electoral system. And that is what we are actually talking about. Security operatives need to do their job at the polling station. Definitely is not all votes buying could be tracked. Like take for instance, like in Edo election, we saw EFCC moving around to arrest people. So even sometimes the issue of maybe 300 meters away from the does not come to play here, because EFCC can just come and even they can just pick anybody far away. And that is why it's not in every situation that say, okay, once the environment of the polling unit is okay. So these are what we were talking about, because no one wants to go to jail. Another challenge about vote buying is people are not being prosecuted. People are not being prosecuted. The kind of arrest they made in Edo, after sometimes you won't hear anything about it again. No one wants to go to jail. And that is why government also need to step up as regards this issue of vote buying. And it's not on the election day alone. It starts from the day 150 days declared by INEC. That's what we're talking about.
Well, maybe one day we would have political parties also committing, just the way they signed this peace accord. Maybe we need something, like that. But much as it's difficult to track all vote buying, we still have to appeal to our people to remember that trading votes is not the best for them, because it's about holding those that we elect accountable. So that's very important. Earlier on, we're talking about the media. One of the, because at least there will still be campaign today, there will still be campaign tomorrow, and we want to advise journalists to demonstrate their neutrality. Don't, even if your relatives attend the rally and they come back with some souvenirs on which party names are written, we advise journalists to refrain from, wearing, if it's maybe a dress or a face cap. The moment you do that, there's a problem. We, in fact, advise them to, even when you are going to cover some of these activities, go in your own vehicle. Don't go in party, because if there is a problem, they will just assume that you are all part of them. So we need to show our independence as much as possible. Sometimes some politicians may feel that journalists from a particular media organization are unfriendly because of the ownership interests of the proprietors. But even at that, our colleagues should patiently explain that they are just doing their work. They are not after any politician. It's very, very important, because people look onto us for credible reports on this election, and we don't want the journalists to be found wanting in this regard. I felt that message is important for our colleagues who are on the field, and I'm glad that we have emphasized the issue of their safety too, because some of them will go to this difficult terrain. Don't ride a boat that does not have life jackets and all those kind of things. And if you have a phobia, for water, make sure that you are redeployed. But more importantly, our duty, particularly outside the capital, is to be able to capture what is going on. And when we see things that are probably not being done properly, to call the relevant agencies, call their attention to it, so that they can act promptly, because we want to contribute to the success of this election. But more importantly, we don't want the security agents to harass our colleagues anywhere. All of their accreditations have been used, so everybody that is accredited to report will have a means of identification. And where the security agents should be encouraged to allow them to recognize themselves, even where there's suspicion, so that we don't have incidents of attacks and harassment of journalists. We are hopeful that if we do all this, we can collectively work together to ensure a very peaceful atmosphere around the elections.
Still talking the security agencies. How can the people complement your efforts?
Yeah, thank you very much. I quickly want to say this. When it comes to the electoral process, we have about 5 major stakeholders. We have INEC, we have the security agencies, we have the politicians, we have the electorate, and we have the journalists, the media, and all that. So these are the major stakeholders. Now, I also want to say we all have our roles to play, because at the end of the day, we have a way of shifting the blame on INEC and the security agencies when things don't go the way we want them to go. But we've forgotten that we all need to play our role to make me function well when we play our role. Take, for example, officers are expected to be at the rack as early as possible so that they can be conveyed, because they will be the one to provide security for sensitive material that will go to the polling unit. Now, they are not the one to provide the vehicle. The vehicle is to be provided by INEC, not security agencies. So if I'm at my rack by 6 o'clock and by 8, the vehicle is not here to convey us to the polling unit, then that won't be the fault of the security agency. But at the end of the day, when the material doesn't get to the polling unit on time, people tend to focus on the security agencies. Of course, that is not their duty. So that is one. Two, talking about the media, I also want to appeal to the media, especially those that will be performing their duty on that day, the accredited ones. Now, there will be checkpoints. There will be checkpoints. The military will be mounting roadblocks and vehicles will be searched. So because you have INEC sticker, you are not doing an illegal duty. For the fact that you have INEC sticker, if they stop you and they said they want to see the content of your boot, for crying out loud, I wouldn't expect somebody to say, "Don't you see there is INEC and all that? I'm a journalist." No, it doesn't work that way. You could even be a security agency agent, and another sister agency will say, "Let me see what you have in your boot." Esprit de corps will not work on election day, because that is my duty. I just want to be sure that you are genuine. You understand? So they should also be friendly with the security agent. When they ask you for your identity, please show them. Don't say you are carrying. Anybody can have access to that tag. But if I ask you, please, can you identify yourself? Please identify yourself. It's not a difficult thing to identify yourself. Show me an identity card and see, oh, you are from social media house. You're, oh, fine. And you go. So we need to also play our part. And the electorate too. We need to play our part. We need to comport ourselves. We need to do things the way it should be done. When you are asked to queue, please queue. When you're asked, when they tell you, oh, there's an elderly man here, please, let's give this elderly man the opportunity to vote. Don't say, oh, I've been here since morning. You these security people, you started again. Because the law allows us to give preferential treatment to the elderly, the pregnant women, and the people with disability and all that. So the people need to be enlightened. They need to know all this, so that when I'm doing my job, you won't say, oh, he's partial. He's So all these things, when we put these things together, it will help the integrity of the electoral process, and it will also help our job.
Thank you very much, Dr. Akure. I just want to ask, how do we mobilize voters, that especially the young voters, first-time voters, the young people? How do we mobilize them?
Well, part of it is what we're doing now, to say to the population, including the young ones, including other groups that hitherto in the electoral process in Nigeria haven't had sufficient active participation, like women, like persons with disability. To continue to say to them that this time that their votes will count, that they may have had maybe some level of disappointment in the past, but from what we're seeing, all the arrangements that are in place, all the commitments that have been made by stakeholders, that this election will go smoothly, and that votes will count, and that they should come out in large numbers. Ondo State is a special state, and we expect it to demonstrate this specialty, so to speak, by coming out in large numbers, by people coming out in large numbers and voting on election day. I think that stakeholders, the civil society, media, and all others should continue the voter education. You are doing well at NTA here, that we can see. Others should also do things like this to continue to give put confidence and trust, in this electoral process, which will encourage voters to come out. Voters, including the young population.
As me, a young person is listening to you, when the person is going to vote this Saturday for the very first time,
Yes.
what will you tell that person? What will you tell the person when the person is watching? Your message to that person?
Yes, come out in good time to your polling unit. Come with your what you're supposed to come out with PVC. Get there, cooperate, with the election officials. Vote, when it is your turn, and comport yourself the way you are expected to comport yourself, and that your vote will count.
You don't sell your vote.
Oh yes, that's very, very important. Yeah, coming for the first time, because if you do not want an outcome, an undesired outcome in the election, don't sell your vote. Because if you sell your vote at the end, you will not have, as you say, the mouth, to say, oh, this election has not been free and fair. So come, cast your vote, from an informed position. Cast your vote for the political party or candidate of your choice, and expect, that a positive result will come, a positive outcome from the electoral process.
Thank you. We'll now go on the short break. By the time we come back, we'll be rounding up this conversation. Stay with us.
Ondo State, where the rays of possibility shine brightest, a place in the southwest, where nature's bounty meets human ingenuity, where every effort contributes to a legacy of growth. In this state, the richness of the past weaves seamlessly with the promise of tomorrow, and every voice resonates with the potential to shape a brighter future. As the dawn breaks on Saturday, 16th November 2024, it brings more than just a new day. It ushers in a pivotal moment for the people of Ondo State. A day when you, the citizens, have the power to choose the next democratic governor of our cherished state. This is more than an election. It's a call to action, a reminder that democracy flourishes through your participation. Your voice, your vote is the heartbeat of this process. Voting is not just a right, it's a civic duty enshrined in our Constitution. It is the very essence of a democratic culture, shaping our future and affirming our collective will. To vote is to claim your birthright, and to refuse to sell it is to honor your heritage. In this act, you transform from being a spectator to an active participant in the democratic process. Let's work together with all stakeholders, the electoral management body, security agencies, and the media to ensure a free, fair, and peaceful election. Democracy is not just about casting a vote, it's about protecting that vote, making sure it counts. Violence undermines the very principles of democracy. Let's rise above it, participating in the spirit of unity and peace. Are you 18 years old and above with a valid voter's card? Then rise, participate, and vote. Be part of history. For in Ondo State, on November 16, 2024, democracy has the power to create change, and that change begins with you. Ondo State, the Sunshine State. Let your voice be heard. Vote.
This message is brought to you by Center for Media and Society, CEMESO, and funded by the European Union.
Thank you for staying with us. We now round up this conversation. I want to ask how do we intend to sustain the peace? I'm talking to the program manager, Justice Development and Peacemaker Center. How do we ensure that we sustain the peace that we're enjoying in Ondo State during the election and even after the election?
Actually, there is no community or there is no state that will definitely grow when there is chaos. And that is why come Saturday, everybody must be peaceful. That's part of the message we talk about. Like one former president of Nigeria said, the election does not worth the blood of any man, so to say. We need to be peaceful. We need to go out and vote peacefully, just like NSCDC PRO just said now. We need to comport ourselves. I discovered that one of the things that bring violence is when we want to prove a point. Don't you know who I am? Don't you know I am? We actually don't need that. We don't need that. Let's just go and vote. Once you are done with your voting, if you still want to stay back at the polling unit, just be watching. This is not this situation to be proving who you are. And as a matter of fact, we need to. So when we embrace peace, we will enjoy it. Yes, because there is nobody that can that will be peaceful that we experience peace when things are boiling. And that is why we need to go out. Let's vote. Every stakeholders in this election should comport ourselves. Civil society organization, domestic observers, international observers. Let's go out and vote and do our job. Media and everybody. So we need to embrace peace. Thank God we have never recorded any form of violence during campaigns, and this has to be sustained. This has to be sustained. Everybody needs to go peacefully and do their voting and return as many people that wants to go back home. And if you want to stay at the polling unit, yes, you can be watching. That's just the beauty of it. There should not be any forms of violence come November 16.
Thank you. I still want us to talk about the introduction of technology in our
electoral system.
So what's your take on it, and what are the main things you think INEC can inject?
Well, it's desirable because if we are able to talk about some measure of progress in our electoral framework, it's because of infusion of technology. We've not gone the whole hog, but I think where we are is good. For example, beavers is technology. And with beavers, you can know the number of people accredited, you can snap, you can take, all those things are innovations. What we hope to see in the nearest future is that technology would also be applied to the other processes. Because, for example, as it is now, collation of results is still manual, it's not electronic. So the IREV that everybody talks about is just to display what has been collated. It doesn't have any inbuilt mechanism to collate or to calculate. It's just to provide basic information. This is what this party has, that's what that party has. So we need technology. But we also know that there are, even in advanced democracies, we have countries that still use, they still vote manually, like in a place like Germany. There are countries like that. So for me, if our election will be devoid of all this manipulation, you do thumbprint, you do so many things, it's just for the political will to be there on the part of our political leaders. Because countries that don't have our resources now is talking of deploying their men to every polling unit. Every polling unit, that's a lot. The police will do the same, and other security agencies will still be on duty. But we went to Liberia here, and they were doing election. They didn't even have enough policemen. The policemen are not as well kitted as our brother, even though he's a policeman. The equivalent of their DPOs, they go around on motorbikes. It's not all the stations that they had security personnel. In some cases, they put fire brigade men to just stand there without any ammunition. But we didn't hear of ballot paper snatched or supporters driven away not to vote because. So we need to call our politicians to order. That is enough. But we have gone too far in this country. We have seen democracy. We have seen best practices in places where they should be expecting best practices from us, but they are the ones leading the pace. So for me, that's just the bottom line. And that's why we kept emphasizing that we need to hold politicians accountable. If you sign a peace accord and your supporters misbehave, there should be sanctions. There should be penalty. And hopefully we'll have the Electoral Offences Commission that can then independently be exclusively in charge of all these things. But many of those things that we think INEC should do, apprehend the vote buyer or vote seller, hand over to security, they are busy attending to the logistics of elections. How would then Nigeria, if an INEC official says, oh, I saw this person vote buyer, I report to the police, if that person is a supporter of a political party, it becomes another problem. And people will say, why is it that it's only our supporters that are USing? You know, in Nigeria, there's a way we talk about corruption. When somebody is being tried, you say, oh, because I belong to another party. Did you steal or did you not steal?
It was talking about these issues, that we have talked about, about electoral offences commission.
Yeah.
That is sanctioning misconduct during the electoral process, particularly election. We know, that for many years now, since the, I think, 9th Assembly,
Sure,
the issue of the Electoral Offences Commission
has been there.
Now in the 10th Assembly, they're also engaging it. And maybe this is an opportunity to call on our legislators at the National Assembly to fast track the process. Only last week or 2 weeks ago, civil society organizations, including our organizations that are represented here, we submitted a memo, citizens memo, to the National Assembly, the joint committee on electoral matters in the National Assembly, tabling before them several issues that we think require reform in the electoral process, which go into the reform of the Electoral Act, including the establishment of the Electoral Offences Commission. That should be a priority going forward during the life of the 10th Assembly. We think it should be completed.
Thank you very much, sir. And as we round up, I know on Saturday, DSC Daniel, you'll be on duty.
Of course, I will.
How do you feel not being able to exercise your franchise?
Yeah, it's actually painful that wants to decide who will be our leader, and you are not, you can't cast your vote. But anyway, we are still performing our national assignment to see that the process is the integrity of the process is upheld. So we want to believe that one day we will have the opportunity to do something like that, and we'll be able to vote. The journalists, every one of us will be able to vote before the. So I hope one day we'll get to that. We'll get to that junction.
So thank you very much, gentlemen, for finding time to join us on this program. And maybe the next 4 years, when we are having something like this, you again for your input. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much. At least with you as a moderator, the gender of this panel has been balanced.
Has been balanced. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for watching. It's been, it's been worthwhile listening to some of the issues raised at this other end, and we hope to see you again very soon on other matters in the program. So then, stay blessed and we will